All 435 seats in the United States House of Representatives are up for grabs in the 2026 midterm elections. But before anyone even heads to the polls, the outcomes for over 90% of these seats are already mathematically locked. This line chart tracks the number of competitive districts, races decided by fewer than 10 percentage points. In 2008, 28% of these districts were in play. By 2024, that number dropped to 20%, and the line is only continuing to fall. The voters aren't deciding these elections. The boundary lines drawn on the maps are doing it for them. Typically, congressional maps stay untouched for a decade. States redraw their boundaries only after a nationwide population count by the Census Bureau. Anticipating a tight race for House control in 2026, Donald Trump pressured Republican governors to scrap that timeline. Instead of waiting for 2030, they started redrawing their maps right away. Look at this map of Florida's newly shifted districts. By drawing new borders, the state erased 4 competitive zones, leaving only a single swing district intact. Texas took a similar route, wiping out its only 2 remaining competitive seats entirely. Democrats quickly retaliated. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom led an aggressive effort to protect his party's seats, effectively erasing 3 swing districts in the process. This tit-for-tat escalation completely abandons the standard electoral cycle. Both sides are locked in an arms race, aggressively carving up the map to secure an advantage long before a single ballot is cast. To understand how these borders lock in power, you have to look at a tactic called cracking. Mapmakers dilute the opposition by splitting concentrated groups of voters across multiple districts. Take Micah Lawrenson. She is a dedicated Democratic voter living in Colusa County, California, a highly conservative agricultural region heavily reliant on farming. This map shows how Colusa County was cracked. Boundaries sliced it from inland farmlands, grouping it with distant coastal cities. Now, rural residents are represented by urban politicians hours away, disconnected from local anxieties over water shortages and fertilizer costs. You can find even tighter, arbitrary divisions in the town of Lodi, east of San Francisco. Mapmakers drew lines straight through residential neighborhoods, splitting the small city into 3 separate districts. These artificial borders sever neighbors and businesses that share the exact same daily concerns, sacrificing local communities to balance partisan spreadsheets. Down the coast in Huntington Beach, you find a famously conservative stronghold. The city is governed by a council composed entirely of right-wing politicians, locally nicknamed the Magnificent Seven. But because of the redrawn boundaries, this conservative city now sits inside a heavily progressive district. Their likely representative in Congress is Robert Garcia, a liberal, openly gay immigrant who the conservative council members actively distrust. While California Democrats flexed their map-drawing power to create outcomes like that one, the legal battlefield elsewhere has proven entirely chaotic and asymmetric. In Virginia, Democrats attempted to carve out 4 new favorable districts to capture the House majority. The state Supreme Court stepped in and struck the map down, ruling the maneuver unconstitutional. This chart tracks the ongoing fallout. Redrawn maps nationwide are projected to give Republicans an advantage in 15 or more new districts. Thanks to the Virginia ruling, Democrats are currently stalled at a gain of just 6. Leaving map drawing up to the individual states creates a severely imbalanced national system. The rules shift entirely depending on which side of a state line you happen to live on. Politicians manipulating boundaries is a centuries-old practice. It traces back to this 1812 map approved by Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry, famously mocked for looking like a mythical salamander. But modern gerrymandering is operating as an incumbent protection racket. When mapmakers engineer a district to be overwhelmingly safe for one party, the politician holding that seat no longer worries about losing a general election. Their only real threat is a primary challenge from the most extreme wing of their own base. This lack of competition kills any incentive to compromise. Lawmakers are rewarded for moving to the extremes, directly fueling severe polarization and legislative gridlock. Representative democracy has inverted. Voters are no longer choosing their politicians. Politicians are choosing their voters. Is there any legal mechanism to stop this escalating mid-decade arms race before the next election? The framers of the Constitution actually anticipated that state governments would try to abuse their power over elections. To prevent it, Alexander Hamilton championed what he called a safety valve. The Constitution includes a specific provision giving the federal Congress the ultimate authority to step in and override state election maps. Federal legislation that bans partisan map drawing across all 50 states is the only uniform way to break the cycle. Unless Washington finds the political resolve to pull that safety valve, the competitive swing district and true democratic choice will go extinct.